Factor by grouping. When you have four terms that you're asked to factor, many times grouping is a technique that you can use. Let's look at the upper left example. We have x cubed minus x squared plus 3x minus 3. If we concentrate on the first two terms, both of these terms have an x squared in common. If we divide out an x squared from both terms, that will leave x minus 1. The second group, back two terms, they have a 3 in common. So if we factor out a positive 3, that will leave an x and a minus 1. When you're asked to factor by grouping, after you factor the first and the second pairs, if you create identical factors, make a copy of those. And then what you factored out of each pair goes into the second set of parentheses. If you were to multiply these two factors out, you would get these four terms back. The example at the top right, we have x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 9. From the first group, we can factor out an x squared. X cubed divided by x squared is x to the first. 3x squared divided by x squared is 3. Pull down our minus sign, then the back two have a 3 in common. Dividing both of these terms by negative 3, negative 3x divided by negative 3 is a positive 1x. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is a positive 3. Once again, we've created identical factors. We'll make a copy of that. X squared minus 3 is what we factored out of each pair. In the video before, we had to factor some trinomials, and with those, we didn't have a number attached to x squared. It was just always a 1x squared term. In these two examples, we've got a 2 in the front, and we also have a 6 in the front. We're going to use the grouping technique to factor these types of trinomials. To get them started, let's start with this example. We have 2x squared plus 9x plus 9. If you're asked to factor a trinomial by grouping, you multiply your first and last number. 2 times 9 is 18. We'll look at the factor list for 18. 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Now we've got to pick a pair that adds up to our middle value. That will be 3 and 6. Now it can be 6 and 3. The order doesn't matter as long as you get your two numbers right. You're going to split your middle term into this pair. So we have 2x squared. 9x you can write as 3x plus 6x or 6x plus 3x. It still has a value of 9x. And then your last term, positive 9, just bring it down. Now, like we did the two examples above, we're going to factor by grouping. The first two terms, those are divisible by 2 and an x. So we'll factor a 2x out of the first pair. That's going to leave an x and a 3. The back two, we have a positive. The back two terms have a 3 in common, so we're going to divide those by a positive 3. That's going to leave a 1x and a 3. We've created identical factors. Make a copy of that. And then 2x plus 3 factored out of each pair. The example to your top right, six times negative 15 is negative 90. 90 has factors of 1 times 90, 2 times 45, 3 times 30. It has a whole lot of factors. We finally fast forward to 9 and 10, and the reason we go there is because 9 and 10 has the potential to give you a negative 1. If you make your 9 positive and your 10 negative, those add up to negative 1, and that's your middle value. Split the middle term using a negative 10 and a positive 9. You can do it in either order. Just remember they have to add up to negative 1. So it's totally fine if these two terms are reversed. If you write with negative 10x plus 9x, you factor your first pair, 6x squared minus 10x. Both numbers are divisible by 2, and both terms contain an x. 6x squared divided by 2x is 3x. Negative 10x divided by 2x is negative 5. Pull down your middle term. That's a positive. Both terms in the back are divisible by 3. 9x divided by 3 is 3x. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5x. We've created twin factors. Make a copy. And then 2x plus 3 will make up your other factor. 12x squared minus 13x plus 1. 12 times 1, that's 12. 12 has factors 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Our middle term is a negative 13x. We can get negative 13 with negative 1 and negative 12. Split your middle term into negative 1 and negative 12. The first pair you can factor out an x. 12x squared divided by x is 12x. Negative 1x divided by x is negative 1. Pull down the sign in the middle. If you run into a pair where it doesn't seem like they have anything in common, you can always factor out a 1. All of our numbers are divisible by 1. Negative 12x divided by negative 1 is a positive 12x. 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. We have the matching factors. Make a copy. X minus 1 makes your other factor. Find the domain of each expression. In our upper left, we have x plus 4 over 7x plus 9. In class, we played around with our calculators, and we would take numbers like 0 and divide by 7, 0 divided by 11. We always got 0 as an answer if we had 0 on top. But the moment we put 0 on the bottom and we try to divide 0, like 5 divided by 0, we always got an error message on our calculator, and that's because dividing by 0 is not well defined. When you're asked to find the domain and you have a fraction or a rational expression, you figure out what makes your denominator 0, because it's easier to identify bad numbers than it is to identify all the good numbers. So it's like reverse psychology, really. We take our denominator, 7x plus 9, that's equal to 0. We subtract 9, that's 7x equals negative 9, divide by 7. Well, it turns out if you can find out what makes your denominator 0, your domain's all the other numbers. So I've gone through with this pink and designated not equal to, because we don't want the denominator to be 0. Your domain's all the good guys, and that's all real numbers, except for this one. In your homework, it could be phrased as all real numbers such that x doesn't equal to negative 9/7. Just be aware it's two different ways to say the same thing. The example in the top right, x squared minus 4 over x squared plus x minus 20. Remember, we're focusing on the denominator. We don't want it to be 0. So the easiest way to find out what group of numbers make up the good guys or the domain, it's easier to find the bad guys and just not use them. X squared plus x minus 20, that's a trinomial. We find factors of 20 that add up to 1. Positive 5 and negative 4 will do both. If you add 5 and negative 4, you get 1. That's your middle value. If you multiply 5 and negative 4, you get negative 20. That's your constant. Those make up your factors. That's why it's crucial to find a pair of numbers that will do both jobs. Sum of the middle, product of the end. Set each factor equal to 0. The first factor is 0 when x is -5. The second factor is equal to 0 when x equals 4. Now remember, we don't want 0 in the bottom, so we can't use -5 or +4. And so one way to say our domain, it's all real numbers except -5 and 4. With square root terms, we did some playing around in class with square root. We square rooted positive numbers. We took a couple of numbers that were positive, typed them in our calculators, and we always got some sort of an answer. Square root of 0 will also give you an answer. That's equals to 0. With square roots, as long as the terms underneath, it's called a radicand, 3 minus x for this problem, as long as that is greater than or equal to 0, you'll have a well-defined term. The moment it goes negative, we saw in class that if you type in square root of a negative number, you would usually get an error message, like a non-real answer, and that's true. 3 minus x is greater than or equal to 0 when x is less than 3. We add x to both sides. 3 is greater than or equal to x. Another way to say that is x is less than or equal to 3. As long as the radicand is greater than or equal to 0, your term will be defined. All real numbers such that x is less than or equal to 3, that's your domain. In the top right, if you have a square root term but it's in the denominator, then you have to be aware that you can't allow it to be 0. Now, it can't be negative because of the square root, but it can't be 0 either because it's in a denominator. In math, the way to avoid 0 and negatives is to be strictly greater than 0. X plus 2 is strictly greater than 0 when x is greater than -2. And so that's the domain for this term. All real numbers such that x is greater than -2. Write the rational expression in simplest terms. We have 66x cubed over 30x squared. Start with your coefficients. 66 over 30 reduces to 11/5. Both numbers can be divided by 6. X cubed over x squared, remember that's 3 x's on top multiplied out. X squared is 2 x's multiplied out on the bottom. If you cancel 2 x's out from top and bottom, you'll have 1 x remaining on top. In the second example, we have 28 minus 4x. We can factor a 4 out of the numerator. That'll leave 7 minus x. That's 28 minus 4x. Be careful. X minus 7, there's nothing to factor out. We'll leave that as is. We also discussed in class that depending on which direction you subtract will give you certain signs in the answer. For example, we did 5 minus 2, and then we did 2 minus 5. Well, 5 minus 2 is positive 3, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. If we had to make those equal, 5 minus 2, since that's positive 3, if you turned it around, 2 minus 5 is negative 3, but we also put in an extra negative to make it positive once again. Now, I said all that to just say this. If you have factors that are subtracted, but they are in opposite order, you can go ahead and turn it around, but you have to use an extra negative to compensate for the sign difference. Notice Up here it's 28 minus 4x. Down here it's minus 4x plus 28. You haven't changed your signs. It looks different, but they have the same values. Now we can cancel those two factors because they look identical, and that leaves us with a negative 4. In this exercise, we have a difference of 2 squares in the numerator, 6 minus x in the denominator. A difference of 2 squares, you take the square root of each term, that's x and 6. Put in a plus and a minus, and you have the difference of 2 squares factored. This upper right factor and the denominator are just out of order. In class, you guys told me we could turn around the denominator, so let's turn it around. 6 minus x, if we turn it around, it's x minus 6, but because it's subtraction, you have to compensate for that sign difference. Just make sure that when you turn around subtraction, you compensate with a sign difference. Now you can cancel your x minus 6's. X plus 6 divided by negative 1. We just took the 1 out here in the front, so we have a negative 1 times x plus 6. In our example to the top right, we have trinomials on top and bottom of the fraction. X squared plus 4x minus 5, we can factor that. We just got to get a pair of numbers that adds up to 4 and multiplies out to negative 5. Negative 1 and positive 5 will do it. If we add negative 1 and 5, we get 4. If we multiply, we get negative 5. In the denominator, factors of 20 that add up to 9 are 4 and 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. 4 times 5 is 20. We have matching factors, excuse me. We have matching factors in the numerator and denominator. We can cancel them. The factors that didn't get canceled are x minus 1 and x plus 4, and that makes up your final reduced answer. Do not cancel, sorry y'all, do not cancel these x's. If they have a minus or a plus sign directly attached to them, it's okay to cancel an entire factor, but not part of one.